Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something. Izzo.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo. Dom Izzo.
Vikings news. 10 years ago today, we were getting ready for a momentous event with Carson Wentz, and he is going to sign with the Minnesota Vikings. News broke this morning from the NFL Network that former Bison second overall pick, who of course won 2 national championships here at North Dakota State, started 5 games for the Vikings last year, threw 6 touchdowns, over 1,200 yards, 5 interceptions. Of course, he had the really tough injury at the end of the season that ended his year against the Chargers on that Thursday night game. Well, he's back in the NFL, going back to the Minnesota Vikings, which makes for a really interesting quarterback room between Carson Wentz, J.J. McCarthy, and Kyler Murray. As we welcome you to Hot Mic here on a Thursday. It's NDSU Pro Day, which has been a tradition. We've been up here for the last 5 years. It's great to have Tim Polasek here. All right, let's go back in the memory banks. 10 years ago on Carson Wentz Pro Day, we were over the Dome. I mean, that was a spectacle. I can remember that.
Yeah, the 2 things stick out to me is I think Cleveland was able to run it because they had the number 1 pick overall, and so it was the first time I saw a bad weather team watering the ball down.
Yeah, that's right.
They wanted to see if he could throw in bad weather. And then the second thing that stood out was like, man, these guys train at it, and there is another level of detail that they can get to. And the improvement that the quarterbacks can make getting back to the basics of the fundamentals and getting away from concept football is just extraordinary. You're going to see Cole Payton today, much tighter release, quicker, a little bit more decisive with his release. I bet he's 0.06 to 0.08 quicker getting the ball out of his hands. And so those are the things that are exciting, but how it's grown since 10 years ago, and the run that we've been on with NFL guys is really fascinating.
Well, and that was a novelty, I think, at that point. I mean, NDSU had won 5 national championships in a row, but still I don't think on the national aspect they knew about Bison football. That is not the case, as you mentioned, with the amount of either first-round or second-round picks that have gone in the last 10 years.
It's interesting because we've had great players in our history. I always kind of go back to 65, and they find the individual. Tyrone Braxton, Phil Hansen. I mean, there's been, and I don't want to leave anybody out, but just the amount of attention that we get throughout the year now, starting with fall camp, August 1. And I can tell you this, that's more important to me than Pro Day.
Yeah.
Over 32 teams were here multiple
times, right? Yeah.
I mean, not over, counting the CFL and that kind of stuff, but just the attention our guys are getting in our program and the respect that we get from a developmental standpoint, they really appreciate how we do things.
This is a big day today. Obviously, there's 7 guys who are going to be out here going through drills. Tell me, for your perspective, what's a day like today like for you?
Well, it starts by getting up at 5, and we got an important workout with our team. That's number 1. But then you got to recruit on campus. And we can't highlight Pro Day with recruiting. He can't be around this with the NCAA rules. But then you transition to where the NCAA tournament's going on. Yes. The Bison are playing. Yep. And then it's so good to see the guys. I was out here Wednesday night with them. It's a little bit emotional, but it's really cool to see the guys that stayed and that are going to get to now put a final stamp on their careers, no matter how it goes. So it's always one of those things that I get a little bit emotional about. Wish we had more time to get back to them.
The fact that this time last year you and I are sitting right here and I'm asking you about Cole Payton, his potential as a quarterback, and now yesterday we're on the show talking that he might be a day 2 NFL draft pick as a quarterback, shows a lot of what you guys did and obviously what he's done.
Yeah, it was really interesting getting a chance to talk with his quarterback coach. What are we missing from an offensive standpoint? Before these guys sign with an agent and a trainer, they look at all of our stuff. And he said, Coach, my hat's off to you guys. And this is going back to, Tyler Roll at the helm, Jake Landry, Dan Larson now, myself, Viggs. But the system's in place and the concepts are there, and it gives the quarterback a real opportunity to compete and to finish their careers here. It was a really smart move by Cole to stay. He's gone all the way from, okay, can this guy play tight end and fullback in special teams to could he be a linebacker? I think that was kind of the story around week 6 or 7 with the NFL teams. And then all of a sudden they started coming back. He was so proficient throwing the ball downfield. He was at an all-time high efficiency. He was making plays with his feet. And so then it shifted gears, and he's most certainly a quarterback that could give somebody something.
The fact that he's elevated himself to the day 2, is that even surprising to you? That we had heard maybe late day 3 that now he's being looked at that high?
Dom, years ago I would have gave you some answer. Here's the bottom line. We don't know what's out there.
Yeah.
Okay, Carson Wentz, about this time of the year when he came out, was starting to turn the corner as a potential first rounder.
Yes. Yep.
So he started a little bit like Gray, probably in the 50, 60 range. These interviews, these individual workouts, these personal accounts, conversations, they all start to stack up and they all start to matter. And then it gets compared to the next 5 to 10 guys that are out there. So I just don't know what the field looks like. And I know Cole has an opportunity today and with his individual workouts to advance himself even further.
Bryce Lance, we got to see, we talked when you were in studio last week, I think it was, all blurs together, ran 4.38. Obviously, he's been the highest touted FCS. This is the last time I can use that moniker with you. FCS drafted guy. What's today? Is this the last box to check for him?
Well, I don't think he'll do a whole lot.
Yeah.
I think with his performance in all the running drills, the catching the ball at the pro day, individual workouts. Yeah, I think, they're probably getting closer to wrapping up his physical evaluation. Now it all comes down to the interviews for him. But outside of catching some balls and maybe some specific drills from teams, I don't think we'll see him do a whole lot. I'm just really proud, and I don't say that now, but I get to, I'm excited for his future because I see a guy that's in a really good place. His parents, his family, his support system. He knows he's got a guy in myself that'll always be here for him, and he's gonna do big things.
You mentioned to me last week, Truman Weremeyer is getting some attention. Let's talk about the Fargo kid and what the next level is seeing in him.
Yeah, let's talk about Truman, but first I would knock that down by saying, well, that's the state of the fullback position.
Yeah, right.
Which is really cool for our guys.
Yes.
They're doing those skill sets. Truman proved that over the last 2 years that he can be a formidable guy in the check down game, some basics, route stuff. He catches it pretty clean. I think he's a better athlete than people give him credit for. Now it's going to be a matter of, for the fullback position, once he gets into mini camps and fall camp, how willing is he to go in there and put his eyes on stuff? But we believe in Truman. And Truman's, I think, going to have a really good workout today. And I'm really happy for him and his family that he's just stuck with it and, live this out. This is a big deal because at some point they're going to tell you football is no longer for you. And then you get to move on.
Chris Harris, Raja Nelson, Anthony Shademi Alfaro are also going through workouts today. Have you heard much on those guys, or what's the opportunity for them to maybe get on the radar today?
Well, they're on the radar. Because of what they did on the field. I mean, the NFL does such a great job, and it's interesting. I've had some conversations now. We're going to hire a recruiting guy. So I've actually had to talk to some NFL guys, the East-West Shrine Bowl guy.
Yeah.
There is so much forward processing of evaluating athletes, that they've gotten their film evaluated, and they made plays. It was a little unfortunate for Chris that he battled an injury. But Raj is going to work out today around 197. Which is a really good weight for him. I think he's going to run better than people think, and then about his playmaking ability. But for all those guys, it's interesting. Can they make a difference on special teams?
That's a way to get on the field, right? I mean, we've seen that. I mean, Jalen Sundell was telling me that with the Seahawks, he got in, he was playing kick return, and then he was starting in the Super Bowl and won a Super Bowl championship at center just a couple months ago.
Yeah, and so for some of those fringe guys, it comes down to can you be a 3-team special team guy? For a fullback, can he play on 2 units? There's only 53 active guys.
Right.
But one thing that I really believe in, though, conceptually and from a scheme standpoint, our guys are further ahead. And so they can be guys that could get on a roster, practice squad, get back called up because they can handle so much information.
We've been So much talking about off the field. It was great to get up here this morning and see your 2026 team on the field because you're going through OTAs with spring ball set to start. Just describe of getting to look at for fans out there what this 2026 team could look like this fall.
Well, we've been stressing really hard. We got our core values, and we've talked about that. But we've been stressing really hard that this football team needs to understand it's cool to be good at football. It's really important that we're brilliant at the basics, in that we're detailing out every opportunity we get when we're on the grass together as coaches and players. It's an explosive team. It's a strong team. It's the leanest team. We put on the most weight, but that's a little bit because of our youth.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting to see some of the additions, all very positive so far. Right now, the two new corners are the two of our fastest guys on the team. The two DNs have not, disappointed us at all. Big, strong kids that can give us something. It's just going to be really interesting to see how the O-line shakes out. Josh Mangan's the one guy that's going to miss a little time again, and that's unfortunate. My thoughts and prayers are with him, but he'll be out 4 to 5 weeks.
Okay.
Kenny looks good.
I wanted to ask about him. That was my first time seeing him in person. Kenny Anene, who's Toby's younger brother, is a large man.
308, and Ryan Napoli begins coach. We aren't even scratching the surface. And the one thing I appreciate about him is his brother was a quiet guy, especially on the field or around coaches. Kenny's got a little more personality, and I just said, hey, how's it going? Are you appreciative of the coaching? He was coach. Head coach being involved in my position is just so nice. Thanks for paying attention to us. Well, I said I have a hard time staying away from it, but he is a good kid, and he's working hard at it. We've made a great assistant coach hire in Taylor Lucas. I'm so appreciative of Matt Larson of getting that done a little earlier than July 1st. He was the head O-line coach at Washington State last year. And he's now Dylan Tremer's assistant.
Wow.
And so we got some firepower. They need to play well.
Is that part of this whole move, Tim, to FBS, is that's going to be normal? You're going to have some more assistants on your staff?
Well, we'll have 3 quote-unquote quality control guys on offense and 3 on defense. Now, defensively, we've been operating with 3, but Marcus Williams will get a few more bucks, and we'll be able to at least not have him working into his pension and his disability from the NFL and those kind of things. But, yeah, that was the plan all along, is to have a really solid number 2 O-line guy that could maybe replace the lead guy if he ever left. And then, obviously, we want to have guys that can break down the footage and help us in recruiting.
I want to do a little mini spring preview here because we're going to get going next week. Give us a few positions that you have your attention. I know you're watching the whole team, but you mentioned offensive line. What other ones we maybe should be paying attention to over the next month?
Well, I'm excited about receiver because we got to have some people emerge to replace Bryce's.
The guys we're going to see all out here today, right?
Yeah, 140 catches. If you look at it, really, it's Chris, Bryce, Braylon, Henderson from a year ago, and Raj. 4 guys that we've lost that the previous group did a great job recruiting. Now it's all about, can Jackson Williams, can Chris Keel, can Dylan Volkel, can Conklin, can Isaiah St. Romain step up and make those plays.
Makai Collins, I'm assuming.
Makai Collins is out right now, so that's why he skipped my mind. But we're counting on him for leadership and playmaking. With that being said, we're also very proactive in the portal still right now, looking for a wideout or 2. I think O-line, just seeing how that all comes together, is going to be interesting.
How about tight end?
Well, tight end, there's definitely, can Colcat expand his role? Can Zenzen really lock in and be a dominant blocking tight end and give us a little bit? And then I'm really excited to see Reese Kessel's growth and development. Gabe Cunningham is up to 237. He's a unique athlete. He
almost looked the part last year, I thought, when he redshirted for you.
And not because it's pro day and I'm thinking about Gray, but Jet Zabel, 234 or 5 now. Bench 350 pounds, and so maybe his time is right around the corner. So we like that group. And then, honestly, the walk-ons, Isaac Ellison, we moved Abe Myers over to tight end.
That's right.
So we'll see if that can produce something. And then Noah, from Hawley is doing a good job. But honestly, all of them, linebacker, Grant Olson's going to be tested a little bit. And we know how good of a coach Grant is. And what combination of guys are going to be out there situationally? What combination on normal down and distance? Keith Williams,
transferred in from
is
Cordell
strong,
here.
Man. Gavin Sell's numbers are better than a lot of guys that we've had in the past.
Redshirt freshman there.
Donovan Woolen. Peter Halgo has made so many gains, and he's a leader. Brixis and Divine, those guys, it's their time.
For the guys that enrolled early, And you've seen this now, Donovan won when your first year. Obviously, we saw what happened last year with a couple guys that got here. How much is that an advantage for them? Is that a chance for them to see the field in August?
Yeah, for everybody moving forward, and especially you, we work together so much. I'm going to temper how I talk about the young guys a little bit.
Yeah.
But for the 4 that are here, Payton, Tucker Thyman, Earl Brown, and Braylon Tolliver, all their numbers speak to them being really good recruits and being ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Strong, fast. Braylon's got some real speed. And Caden is already up to 237 pounds.
Wow. 18 years old?
Yeah, that's what, that's why I want to protect those guys a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't want to have this huge, we probably overshot a little bit on Miles, but Miles is one of our most improved guys, the top 10 performer this winter.
And you're going to expect quite a bit out of him this coming fall, out of Miles Mitchell at running back. That's another spot I think fans were asking about as well. Knowing DJ Scott is back, Miles Mitchell in the rotation. What are you looking at the running? And Braylon obviously being here early. Is that a combination you're looking at early on here?
Well, first of all, Breek is going to do a good job today.
Yes.
I think, out of all the guys, he's maybe the one that was under the radar that's got a little bit
I think
of an uptick
so. Yeah,
from
you're probably right.
His All-Star game and stuff. The group has to be better. As a group, we need more playmakers. We need to support the O-line. We need to support the tight ends better in the run game. Barika and DJ had a really good season, but I didn't feel like we had much punch from anybody else, really. And so between those 3 other guys, we got to clearly identify a number 2, but we most certainly got to also, who is going to be a 3 that can give us something.
Just a couple minutes left here with Tim before we let him go. I haven't talked quarterback, so let me ask you about Nathan Hayes. I'm assuming that Nathan's QB1 here?
Different than other NDSU off seasons. I mean, if you heard me, wrap up the thing where it's all about competition.
Yep.
And it is at every spot. For Nathan, it might be a little bit more about competition from within. We're asking him to be really focused on being who he is, which is a gunslinger, great athlete, but he's got to take care of the ball. And so Nathan's got enough on his plate for improvement-wise, but really I'm really excited to see how the backup role shapes up. Is there a role for another athlete type thing? The group is really improved, though. Trey keeps getting better and better every day that he's here on campus. And then Preston and Xander might be the most improved as far as attacking his weaknesses that he had physically.
And he got here this time last year, Xander Smith did.
Yeah, and he's really improved. And so we'll see which one of those guys can be the most process-oriented and start to move themselves forward as far as the number 2 and 3 spots go. But right now, I think Nathan is our starter, and we're going to move forward that way.
Excited to see him. We saw he got a new number as well. What changed?
We got a lot of
new
numbers.
Yeah, I saw that on the roster this morning. I was looking through.
Me and the fans and I are probably exactly on the same page.
What numbers who?
Yeah, I mean, and these guys are all chasing single digits now.
Yeah. Is that a new thing?
It's kind of.
Okay.
But also, guys get here and it's all seniority based. And so it might be 2 years before they actually get into
their number they want.
The number they want. And so get caught up on the roster, pay attention to number change. Keenan Wilson.
Yeah, number 8 now, I saw.
Yeah, and he's fired up. Keenan can do whatever he wants right now.
Right?
I mean, 290 pounds. He had just a magnificent offseason. And so did Logan. I'm curious about
Logan
the D-line. Can we be deeper than we were last year with the numbers? And then, you got Elijah and Vanderpool that are coming on.
All these guys, you know the number better than I. What is it? In the high 90% that come to camp and end up, you offer them, and then they end up becoming Bison. I know that's a huge deal for you guys when you have that coming around in June again.
Well, yeah, number one, the answer is yes. But what has changed is there's not as much emphasis on a kid going into his senior year going to camps if they have a bunch of offers.
Okay.
Because now they're focused on official visits.
Yep.
So typically we have those kids at camp when they're sophomores, and then maybe we see them somewhere else and continue the recruiting process. But I'll tell you, I'm excited about our camp season. We've really... we're going to start a 7th and 8th grade camp.
Wow.
And that's to service the state, not us. Let's keep generating more prospects in the state. Let's keep getting the football and the athletics to be better. And so that's going to be a really controlled, fundamental skills and drills camp during our youth camp in the afternoons. And then our youth camp, we've got some exciting, fun, new things for our young guys to go through. And then, when you start looking at it, right, like high school camp right around the corner, And then we got junior days right now, and then we have our official visits. And recruiting's going really well. But the camps are a huge part of that.
Already got 2 commits already, which is well ahead of pace from any other time I can remember.
Yeah,
at this
we're
time of the
probably
year.
closing in on 3 to 4. You know, I would say in the next 5 maybe.
Okay.
In the next couple weeks.
Last thing, this is a huge day for NDSU. The Bison have 5 at the NCAA Wrestling Championship starting later today. The Bison women's basketball team is going to be playing. We'll have Jory on later in the show in the WBIT. Obviously, Dave's team is out in Buffalo in the NCAA tournament. And you have this going on here today where most of the NFL is going to be here. This is a monster day for Bison athletics.
Yeah, I think 25 teams.
Okay.
You know, it's just not as big a senior group as it was the previous year, but I'm a fan of all NDSU athletics, a supporter. Well, I mean, a lot of big things going on. The announcement to go to the Mountain West is like secondary right now, and it is for us too. Like, we're no longer going in, we're in.
Right.
And we need to start
now
to become process-oriented as a whole community. Like, we're trying to climb this mountain. You know, we're going to need a lot of support that way. And then our football team has got to really get back to the basics of, you know, people climbing Mount Everest don't die on the way up. They die on the way down. You know, and so we got to enjoy this journey. There's going to be a process to this. We're going to be competitive. Winning's at the forefront, but there's going to be a process to a lot of this. Whether you're talking about athletic training, the weight room, hires and recruiting. And so it's just, I'm really embracing all the positives and getting to go through this journey with our fans, our administration, and then, you know, good luck to all of our basketball teams, wrestling. I mean, track and field had a great year. I know softball and baseball is right in the middle of it. Look at the competitive schedule they're playing, and that's only going to get better and better.
It's great to see you, bud. Thanks for doing this, and appreciate it, and have fun today.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate all the support, and go Bison.
Tim Polasek joining us here to start our show here on this Thursday morning, live on location at Bison Pro Day. The drills get started here in about 40 minutes, and then they'll be out on the field here behind us. We'll take our first break. We come back. We're going to check in Buffalo as well as the Bison tip off at 3 o'clock today, about 6 hours away from tip off from NDSU and Michigan State. We're back live on Hot Mic on WDAY Extra right after this. Welcome back, everybody, on a rather massive Sports Thursday here in the Fargo-Moorhead area and across, actually, North Dakota and Minnesota. Because don't forget, the State A and B basketball tournaments tip off later today. You'll see them live right here on WDAY Extra and on WDAY. The Class B quarterfinals will be live from Minot starting at 1 on WDAY. Here on Extra, we've got the Class A from the Fargo Dome starting at 1 o'clock. We previewed both tournaments throughout the week. Both crews are ready to rock and roll. It's one of our biggest days of the year. Looking forward to it from Minot and the Dome. You can stream everything as well on WDAY+. Excited about that as everything tips off coming up later today. Back here at Bison Pro Day, as we mentioned, the measurement drills will get going here at about 10 o'clock. Actual on-field stuff will be probably after Hot Mic wraps here at 11 a.m. We're going to catch up with some fun guests here today. We had Polasek here to start our show. You're going to meet Jake Heaps coming up here in about 10 minutes. That's Cole Payton's quarterback coach, who's worked with Russell Wilson. He's worked with a bunch of quarterbacks you would know. He's been working with Cole here for the last few months. He'll join us in, I'd say, about 10 minutes time to give us the lowdown on what he's been working with the Bison left-hander coming up in a few minutes. Jory Collins will join us in our second hour. It's become customary for the Bison women's basketball coach to join us on Pro Day because his team is still playing. They play tonight in the WBIT first round against Chattanooga. ESPN Plus will have the game. We're producing it, so you'll hear myself and Amy Rulli on the call. We're excited about that. That's coming up at 10 o'clock. At 10:35, old friend Steve Laqua will be here because it's not all Bison that'll be on the field today. His former quarterback, Jack Strand, will be out here throwing in front of the Scouts. Big day for him, so we'll have Coach Laqua join us at 10:35 to wrap up the show. We'll have a few other special guests. I'm sure that always happens on Pro Day throughout our time here. Now, we mentioned the big thing going on, not only here, not only across the state. Obviously, our eyes are fixated on Buffalo, New York, because later today, the North Dakota State men's basketball team will take on Michigan State in the opening round of the NCAA tournament. This was video from yesterday that our Riley Swenson got on the ground there. Each team is allowed 40 minutes for a shoot-around. to get out and get acquainted at least a little bit with the shooting situation there. This is a hockey arena that the Bison will be playing in tomorrow. Michigan State has never played in Buffalo either, as we heard Tom Izzo talk about yesterday. Now for this team, they know full well they're a 16.5-point underdog against a Michigan State team that can jump out of the gym. They've got a couple guys, Kolpak wrote about one yesterday, that you're going to see today that are just unbelievable athletes that the Bison are going to have to contend with in this matchup coming up later today. NDSU has not played a Big Ten team since the COVID year, November of 2020. That was against Nebraska when they matched up with a Big Ten team. That was the last time that this happened. And you'll hear from Tom Izzo coming up later on in the show about the challenges that the high major teams have facing a mid-major here in the NCAA tournament. But we got a chance to hear from the Bison players and Dave Richmond about this matchup with Michigan State.
Obviously, it was really big for us, both on and off the court. On the court to have someone back that had a lot of experience, starting at that guard position and really helped to lead us. And then off the court, like you said, we had a lot of new guys come in. So be one of the main guys to, bring those guys into the team, into the family, and, show them how we do stuff.
Yeah, I would say, too, just him taking the year off last year, he was still very involved with the team and just giving advice at practice, kind of always in our ear. Even though he wasn't playing, he was still like that, played a big role in that.
Travion, just talk a little bit about watching some Michigan State film and what do you see on film? What's going to be the challenges for you guys tomorrow?
Just limit them in transition, like Mari said. I mean, they're a big athletic team. They like to push the pace, so just trying to contain them as much as we can, do our thing.
We've covered this before, Noah, but what changed for you when you went from being a starter to coming off the bench and eventually the sixth man of the year in the league? Was there something with you that changed, or what happened there?
Yeah, I think maybe there was a little bit of a shift of a mentality, making that change. I feel like the first half of the year or so I was kind of just surviving. I wasn't really living much, wasn't having a bunch of fun, and I think that translated to how I was playing on the court. So making that switch, I think, helped me a lot and kind of found myself to be comfortable in that role. Coming in a couple minutes into the game, and just it worked for all of us. So.
Yeah, front.
Tomorrow, you guys haven't been in the tournament, but do you still feel like you have a veteran presence about your team?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think we just got a really mature group here, and I think that's the biggest thing going forward for us.
You haven't been here, your team, in the NCAA tournament, but do you still feel like you have a veteran presence about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we don't have the NCAA tournament experience, Jeff, but we two 24-year-olds, and, you saw the guys that kind of, I don't want to say dominated, but, took control of the Summer League championship game, and Noah Federson, Damari Wheeler-Thomas, just guys that had been there and done it. So experience, I would say age, is a premium maturity.
In the back.
Coach, Matt Majinski with College Basketball Review. Damari mentioned in the year off that he was able to kind of see the game from a coach's perspective. What have you seen in him this year that has kind of matured him more on the court?
I think the game, to his point, has slowed down a little bit. Damari is a fierce competitor. To call him a dog, he's an elite athlete, so explosive. I've challenged him to become a better basketball player. What's his defense like off the ball? How is he impacting the game to make others around him better? And that's what he's done. I mean, he's always going to fight. He's always going to compete. And I think Noah's shot kind of sums up where Damari's at. He gets feet in the paint, makes the right play to Travion Carson, and Travion hits Noah, and that's the game. And I would say that's the biggest area where Damari's game is growing.
Selection Sunday, when you see a school like Michigan State pop up, they've been here 28 straight times now. Tom Izzo does this year after year after year. What kind of went through your mind when you saw the matchup?
Yeah, I got that question a lot back in Fargo too. Like, we're excited about it. Like, it's March and we get to match up. Now, this is what do they say? Our next guest needs no introduction. Like, this is a well-coached program that's, to your point, been here and done it. And it's going to be a challenge for us, but we love challenges. We embrace the hard, and we're going to get tested, by all those things tomorrow afternoon.
When you dug into the film, once you found out you're playing Michigan State, what popped off the film for you, or what? I don't want to use the word scared, but what concerns you most as the coach?
Yeah, not scared of anything, Mike. But I think the beauty of it is, and I say this as a compliment, what Michigan State, they don't do a whole bunch. But what they do extremely well. And I say the biggest things that we've prioritized our focus on is how fast they are in transition, making sure we get back and get multiple bodies back. And in the backboards, they're just so strong and physical and athletic, and they're relentless to go to the glass. And so, we have got to take great shots, take care of the ball so we can, allow ourselves to get as many bodies back as possible, and then we all got to rebound.
Going to be a great challenge here for the Bison men's basketball team this afternoon. Jeremy Fears goes without saying what he brings to the court. Colby Cohen is a guy who you read Kolpak's article, he's got a vertical of 51 inches. This is a high major team, blue blood. The key here, and this is, you look back at the Oklahoma game, got to make your shots early. Can't turn the ball over, and you're going to need something to go your way for the Bison to win this game. That's what happened against the Sooners in 2014. The Bison are going to need Michigan State to go cold here early on. You can't fall behind by double digits at the under 12 timeout. Just get things rolling here and just hang around. That's the biggest thing. Just keep hanging around when you get to that second half and get to that under 16, under 12 timeout, and then that crowd that's there will invariably be going to the underdog. That's just what happens in the NCAA tournament. Can't wait. Much more on that. You'll hear from Tom Izzo coming up in our second hour as well about the challenge of facing a mid-major like NDSU. We are live up here at Bison Pro Day. We'll take a break. We come back. You'll meet the man who's been working with Cole Payton exclusively since the Bison football season ended. Jake Heaps will join us when Hot Mike returns on a Thursday morning. We're back live to Bison Pro Day on WDAY Extra right after this.
Thanks for doing this. Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. Hot Mike live on location here at Bison Pro Day. You're looking at video from the NFL Combine back in February in Indianapolis, where Cole Payton, I think, opened some eyes there for people that didn't know much about the Bison quarterback, and he's got a chance to do that again here today at Bison Pro Day. Back here inside NDSU's indoor practice facility, the man who's been working with Cole since the season ended is Jake Heaps. He's Cole's quarterback coach. Great to meet you. Thanks so much for doing this. Give us, for people that don't know you, give it a little background and your history with this position.
Yeah, so was a highly rated recruit coming out of high school. Played for 3 different colleges, BYU, Kansas, and Miami, and then had a quick stint in the NFL with the Jets and the Seattle Seahawks. Immediately flipped that, and I've been over 10 plus years training quarterbacks. My most notable quarterback, I guess, that I've been working with for the last 10 years has been Russell Wilson, and have trained numerous college and NFL guys, and getting a chance to work with Cole this year has been an absolute pleasure.
How's that connection? Where did that happen? Was it Cole's? Did he reach out? His agent? How did this partnership come together?
Yeah, it really came through the agency,
okay.
and had a chance to talk to Cole before his season ended, and we just hit it off right away. There was just an immediate connection there in terms of just being like-minded, and Cole was so focused and so driven, and just immediately after getting a chance to talk to him for 45 minutes, I was like, I got to work with this kid. I really believed in the talent and what he could do and how that translates to the next level. But getting a chance to get to know him and his work ethic and his drive and his focus, that's the special stuff that really is going to make him successul at the NFL level.
How was it? Difficult was it? You couldn't work with him right away because obviously you had the broken thumb. What did you guys do for that first month and a half?
Well, most guys, they would sit there and go, okay, well, I need to rehab and I need to, kind of go through that process, and then we'll start as soon as I get to California. Well, Cole was, bugging me every day. Hey, can we hop on a Zoom? Can we, start working on the X's and O's of this thing? And that's exactly what we did. And so, that's the other part that really I've enjoyed about Cole is, how hard this guy works. And he is all ball. I mean, when we were in California, you could, take your training time from your lifting to your running to your throwing, and then go hang out on the beach and enjoy the weather and all that. And, there was times where he, did that on the weekends. But, man, when we were working together, he wore me out, man. It was like we were there, I kid you not, we were there from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., just going through everything. And his work ethic, his desire to just continue to want to learn as much as possible. I mean, it truly is impressive.
So how big, Jake, was the Senior Bowl for you to see what he did? Because we knew about him. I don't know if the NFL did. They certainly did after leaving Mobile, what he did for the week down there.
There's no question, and that was really huge for him. And we we didn't know if he was going to be able to do it or not. So, give you a quick story. I go down there for the first week, and this is his first week being able to throw post his thumb surgery. And I'll tell you what, it was a really bad week. It was a really bad week. He couldn't control the ball as well as he wanted it to, and everything else. And you could tell he was frustrated. And so we were going into, and we only had 2 weeks before the Senior Bowl. So the first week didn't go very well. Wasn't great. He had a great team, great surgeon, great PTs down there with Excel, and hey, the next week's going to be a lot better. Come back on Monday, and miraculously, it's almost like he's Cole Payton again, and the ball's zipping, and my hand's hurting, within 5 minutes, and we're like, okay, this guy's going to be ready for the Senior Bowl. He goes down there and absolutely rips it up, and I think that was a huge marker for him to be able to show and prove that, yeah, he can play at this level. Everything that you see on tape, he was able to display that in person, and just the way that he carries himself, the leadership qualities that he has. The guys just naturally gravitate towards Cole, and so I think that was a great opportunity for him, and you really saw the buzz really grow after that.
What have you heard? I guess the knocks, or maybe his delivery is long. I keep hearing a long delivery. You're a QB coach. What is that? Because for my viewers out there, they hear all these terms around draft time. I'm like, I have no idea what it means. So what does a long delivery mean?
Yeah, I mean, can I be completely honest?
Go for it. Yeah, let it rip.
It's garbage.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of guys that want to say different things, and I think Cole, his release point, it's things that we've worked on, but it's a little bit longer in terms of when he brings the ball down, and he's got a little bit of a longer loop to his throwing motion. But when he brings it from that spot all the way through, I mean, it's coming through with tremendous velocity, and it's coming out quickly. And any of the times where he was late throwing the ball, it had nothing to do with his long delivery. It had to do with his thought process. It had to do with his feet. And so more of those things need to be corrected, because I'll tell you what, go look at a lot of quarterbacks that have been successful in the NFL. You look at a guy that just won the Super Bowl, Sam Darnold. I hear nobody talking about his release, and he brings the ball down just like this. He's got a longer, loopier release than Cole Payton does. So, I always get a crack out of, some of these experts talking about quarterback mechanics, because, Cole is actually very efficient with his quarterback mechanics. Would to the eye, would it be more pleasing if, he brought it straight back and it would be a little bit more compact? Sure. And those are things that we've definitely worked on. He was holding the ball down by his belly button. We've got it a little bit more closer to his sternum, and we'll continue to keep working on that. But he is as efficient as it gets, and just go through the. I mean, Russell Wilson was a guy for a long time that had a longer, loopier release. But man, when it gets from this point to point A, point B, and he's got tremendous velocity on the football, it doesn't really matter. So I always get a kick out of when I see that, because it's just not true.
Is there anything else out there to dispel narratives? Because he's told me that, I want to dispel the narrative, I can throw it. And he heard that here. Yeah. This time last year, we were asking him those very questions. I was asking him, can you throw it down the field? Because we hadn't seen it. How much are you fighting that with scouts and general managers saying this guy is worth taking somewhere in the NFL draft?
It's a great question, and I think it's something that it has been, I think, valid questions, and he answered all those last year. 72% completion percentage, had one of the best, according to PFF, had one of the best big-time throw rates, dialed it up when he was blitzed within the pocket. I mean, he showed that he can play within the pocket at a very, very high level, and then you top that off with his freakish athleticism, and he's hurling and jumping over people. He's just a very unique guy, and he reminds me more of a guy like Josh Allen than he does of Taysom Hill. I saw Taysom Hill come out. He didn't have the same ability to throw the football and read defenses the way that Cole Payton does. And this offense in NDSU, they do such a great job getting these guys ready for the next level in terms of what they put on them, how they teach the game. Was so impressed with Cole's football IQ, and that's what I think people just need to understand is, although he's only started for a handful of games and 1 year at it, this kid is so incredibly bright. I could not stump the kid in all our time in California. I had to pull some dirty tricks to get him, from time to time. But he's so incredibly smart. He's a worker. He is going to thrive at the next level. And that's really what I've had to, talk to people about is, you could implement him in year one in unique packages if you want to, but this guy is going to develop into a heck of a player, and he'll be ready in year one. It's just the amount of reps and the opportunities that he's going to get. But that's what I would tell folks, and that's what I'm really trying to convey to people is this kid is for real, and he has the ability within a year or two to be unquestionably an NFL starter, and I would even be confident that he could do it in year one. He's just not going to get that opportunity with the layout right now, and I think that's positive for Cole. But I would absolutely take him, very high in this draft, knowing that this could be my starter in a year or two from now.
What's on the docket here for today? What are you going to have him doing?
Yeah, so listen, we're going to show it all off. We're going to show off his ability to throw on time and in rhythm. We're going to show his ability to be able to move within the pocket, being able to display that athleticism of driving up and throwing on the run, and then those deep shots down the field. And so we're going to give scouts and NFL teams an opportunity to see every throw that you could imagine. And it's not going to be a cute script. We're not going to sit there and have a Zach Wilson-esque type of throw on there. This is going to be real NFL throws with real NFL timing, NFL movement, and he's gonna put on a show. I'm really excited for him.
PFF yesterday, Jake, had him as a third-round pick. I know you're not his agent, but have you heard this? Have you heard somewhere of that high as a day 2 selection?
Yes. Wow. And I am very bullish on Cole Payton. The national media, you have to understand, for everybody out there that's listening, is the national media has their select guys that they're going to talk about every day, and that happens to be.
It's going to be Mendoza, Ty Simpson, and Drew Allard appears, right?
Yeah. Listen, I think that those are guys, Carson Beck, he was just in the national championship, this, that, and the other. But, I'm working with Fernando Mendoza as well right now. And Cole has a tremendous ceiling and upside, and he's ready to go. And, if teams just actually do their homework and they spend time with this kid and actually get to learn who he is and how he's wired, people are going to fall in love with this guy. And the feedback that we get is very positive. And so I think it's hard to exactly know where the range it's going to be, but it would not surprise me if we're sitting here on draft day and Cole is getting drafted, in the 3rd round, very high. The outside media might go, where is this coming from? But within NFL circles, people are really starting to fall in love with Cole Payton.
Have you advised him to stop hurdling?
Listen, if
Carson Wentz did that too, and I think he found out the hard way when he got to the NFL that wasn't going to work.
He did. Listen, I told him to pick and choose your spots, right? I'm not going to stop, this unicorn of an athlete from going out and playing and being himself. But you definitely aren't looking to hurdle every time you go out and run. But maybe he'll get that chance and that opportunity. And he's very special with the ball in his hands and being able to run and make plays. And there's angles where I'm watching the tape and I'm going, okay, this is going to be a 5-yard loss, and he ends up taking it for a 20-yard gain. And I'm just blown away by his athleticism and his explosiveness. And he is going to be a really difficult quarterback to deal with, especially on 3rd down and in the red zone.
I really appreciate you doing this. One last thing. You mentioned, because we've heard the Taysom Hill thing, and I'm glad you brought that up. In your estimation, your opinion, you're saying Cole's a better athlete / quarterback than Taysom was at this when he was coming out of college?
I would say he's a better quarterback. Taysom, he ran a 4.4, almost a 4.3. They're very similar in terms of body type, in terms of, 6'2.5", chiseled, big legs, very athletic. And I think that's why people look at Cole in that way. And so if you're taking it from, not you guys last year, because I think that was a real question, but if you're looking at NFL scouts or people trying to compare him to that, I think it's very lazy analysis. And when you actually watch his film and you watch him throw and what he's doing, he's going through progressions. He's making throws with big-time throws with people in his face, and throwing it in tight windows with anticipation. He is ready to play at the NFL level, and getting a chance to be with him and challenge him on the field. I mean, he's ready.
Yeah.
He's absolutely ready. And I think for him, the unique part about it is that he is a one mistake guy. And when you watch the tape early on in the season, there'll be mistakes that he made or missed opportunities. And then you go back and watch, maybe 2 games later, and he doesn't make that same mistake again. And so that's what really shows me is like, okay, with the limited starts that Cole had, this kid is incredibly bright. He's a fast learner. He's able to apply those, and as I told him, in the process, it's like, hey, you can get me once, but you're not going to get me twice.
Last thing, the fact that you got to throw to Bryce Lance at the Combine, I know you're not working with Bryce, but what have you heard from the scouts on what Bryce Lance's potential could be?
Well, I mean, he is so incredibly smooth. I've had the chance to watch him run. We had some dress rehearsal workouts before this, a couple days before, and man, he is just such a smooth athlete and very proficient in his route running, very confident with his hands. And so when you look at Bryce, you see somebody that is going to be able to make a big impact. And I think the positive thing is how well Christian Watson was able to do in the NFL, right? And so you have somebody that has, similar measurables in terms of their 40 times and everything else. You know that Bryce's game is going to translate. And I think the other thing is that, with Bryce, he is savvy enough where it's not just, hey, I'm going to be an X receiver and I'm going to line up in one spot only. You can move this kid all over the field, and he can run slot routes. He can do a lot of things. So, anybody ask me about Bryce Lance, I'm going to have nothing but positive things to say. And I think he's also in that boat of he might not be getting the national love and attention, but trust me, NFL scouts and GMs, they know who Bryce Lance is, and he's going to go pretty high in this thing.
This was awesome, bud. I really appreciate you doing this. So hopefully we can catch up again before the draft, okay?
No question, anytime.
Jake Heaps joining us, Cole Payton's QB coach here live on set. We'll come back. We'll wrap up our first hour. We're live on location here at Bison Pro Day, back on Hot Mic on WDAY Extra right after this. Holy cow, what a first hour here inside the indoor practice facility. We'll break here, get back on schedule. We come back. It's Thursday at Bison Pro Day. Of course, Jory Collins will join us because the Bison women have a game tonight on top of everything else we got going on. We'll preview that with the Bison women's basketball head coach, NDSU in Chattanooga. We come back, start hour 2 of Hot Mic right after this.
This is Hot Mic. Hot Mic. On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2 of Hot Mic, live on location here inside the Bison Indoor Practice Facility. NDSU Pro Day going to get started. Actually, right about now, they're doing their testing. They'll be out on the field here. Probably we wrap up Hot Mic, of course, that works. But we get to continue a tradition that we've done, I think, last 3 or 4 years to have NDSU women's basketball coach Jory Collins join us. It's Thursday. Jory always joins us on Thursday, and you are playing basketball still, bud, so that's it's good timing. Thanks for popping over and doing this.
Always a good sign if we can get basketball into NFL Pro Day.
Well, this is a huge day. I was talking with Polasek about the start of the day. It's a massive day for Bison Athletics. You're playing tonight. David's team playing later out in Buffalo. The wrestlers are at the NCAA Championships. You got the NFL here. This is a large day.
It's a lot of activity.
Yeah, man.
A lot of things going on, but all positive.
Yes.
All exciting things. It's obviously for us winter sports, if we're still going, that's a testament to good seasons that we've had, wrestling as well, and then obviously excited for these guys in here today to get to show out. And
Give me your little breakdown. I know you don't spend a whole lot of time on Michigan State men's basketball, but what Dave's team's got coming up here later today.
Yeah, I mean, that ought to be fun. I can't wait to watch. We have shoot-around right up until 3, and then I'll be glued to the TV to watch that before our game tonight. Obviously, being a college basketball fan, I think you've watched Michigan State and Coach Izzo for decades here do what he does, and I can think of 10 or 15 Michigan State players over the years that I just really liked watching. And so what an opportunity for those guys, well deserved. And I love our team's toughness. I know Michigan State's, built their program on physicality, rebound, defense, toughness. And so's Dave. So that ought to be a fun one to watch.
All right, so take me back. We talked last Thursday. You told me long shot, but give me the emotions of watching the selection show and what went down Sunday night for you.
Yeah, I mean, again, it wasn't a surprise. I didn't have any, inclination that we were going to be in. I felt, Dom, that we were probably going to be right on the outside, and we were.
Yeah.
But again, just as exciting to get to continue to play. And if you're not going to be in the tournament, what a better thing to have than to be able to play at home and play some really good teams from across the country in a really well organized and put together tournament. So it's a chance for us to just continue to grow and get better.
Avery told me on Tuesday when I was up here that seeing that graphic, she didn't need any part of that. I'm assuming you were in the first 4 out graphic.
Yeah.
I'm sure you were in the same boat.
Yeah. I mean, that's where you're at. You go back and you think, if we win this game, or if we would have beat Nebraska, if we would have beat Gonzaga, if we would have beat SDSU at home. I mean, that's the 3 losses we had in the entire regular season. Could you do more? Sure. That's hard to say when you're finished 26-4 or whatever we were in the regular season. So, we put our best foot forward. It wasn't quite enough. Now we're on to the next.
One last thing on that. Is that change for you? And I know we talk scheduling all the time, but does that have to change how you do non-conference if you can even get a game? Because I know we've talked about that in the past.
That's just so much easier said than done.
Correct.
I would love to just put down, hey, we need to play this team, here, and here. And that'll put us in the best spot.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it's like guys at the NFL draft talking about we need to trade up or back. Well, somebody has to want to trade with you.
Yeah.
Somebody has to want to play you. Somebody has to want to host you. And sometimes you need money to do that, to get home games. And so there's a whole lot of things that go into it. So, yes, does it factor into how we schedule? It sure does. We also, at some point, got to get games to play.
All right, so let's talk about the WBIT. For fans out there that knew the tournament you were in the last 3 years, this is a different event. The NCAA puts this on. The NCAA is fitting the bill here for everything as well. So this is a higher prestige tournament with, frankly, there's Power 4 teams that are in this event as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great tournament. And, the WNIT is awesome, too. It serves its purpose, give people opportunity to play in the postseason. For me, that's a team that's up and coming that you're trying to get more March experience, and we utilized that the last 3 years, and our admin have been terrific in allowing us to do that and let us get some home games and feel that last year. And as we continue to get better, it's going to be NCAA tournament or WBIT. And being able to have the NCAA step in the last couple of years and say, hey, we want to sponsor a second tournament. Chattanooga gets to charter here. They get taken care of, hotel, all that stuff is part of the process. So it's a well-organized, well-put-together tournament, really good teams. Obviously, the chance to get to play at home is fantastic at this point in the year, too. So
Chattanooga, their head coach, DeAndre Shermer, is also a Holton, Kansas resident, much like yourself. This is the biggest thing that happened in Holton, Kansas ever, you think, what happens tonight?
Oh, I don't know about that. DeAndre was 10 years younger than me, so I didn't really know her personally. I know her cousins all went to school with me, 3-4 of them, in grades below or above. My sister's class. Her mom was my 7th grade algebra teacher at Holton Middle School. So it's obviously a small town, so people know. So I think it's been a lot of fun for them to get to talk about that. And, my basketball coach was her assistant basketball coach, and my freshman football coach was her head coach. So we've had a lot of the same
crossover,
people, impact us and kind of guide us and as younger people. And obviously we turned out okay.
Well, I was visiting with you about this on Tuesday. It's a sports haven, your hometown, right?
It is. For the population that's there and where we're located, there's been a lot of people come out of there and do some really good things, in athletics and get to certain levels of coaching, both in basketball and in football. So it was a good time. It's a good time to something in the water there in the 90s and early 2000s.
What do you know about Chattanooga for fans that are going to go to the game or watch the game tonight on ESPN Plus? What do the Moccasins bring to the table?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're very, very good. They're regular season league champs, lost in their conference championship, tournament game like we did. Two-headed monster, is what stands out. Their point guard, Ellie Sardez, I believe is her name, is terrific. Kind of reminds me of Jada Hood at St. Thomas, kind of a power guard, maybe a little bit shorter but explosive. can really fill it
shoot
up,
the ball,
mid-range, shoot it. And then their 4-man is really good. The Corbett kid is a stretch 4, shoots the lights out, trail threes. If you're not there, she's going to make it. Really good athlete at 6'1", too. And then they got good size in the post and good size on the wing. I mean, they're all 5'11", 6 foot for the most part. So we'll have our hands full there with the size.
Is there a comparable team that you from the Summit League that you could throw out there, or no? They're unique in that way.
You know, I think St. Thomas was a good one we were talking on before. I think fairly with their size and length, I think that was a pretty good comparison.
I know last year at this time it was such a different vibe because how the Summit League tournament went and asking your team, hey, we want to keep playing, and obviously you had the great run in the WNIT. How different is the vibe around the team now to get ready for this tournament starting tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think as disappointed as you were and as we were when, we didn't win the championship game on Sunday, I don't know that was as devastating as just laying an egg the year before. I mean, I don't know another way to put it. We underachieved in that tournament. And we were in that game, in the championship game last week, Dom, and a couple plays our way, and it's a different game. And you just move on to the next. Yeah. And I know the difference is our team knew we were playing again, regardless. So it was take a few days off, recalibrate a little bit. Let's get back, get focused up, and as soon as we have a new opponent, time to get dialed back in.
And I mentioned that to you the other day. Just having an opponent, a date, location, that just gets the competitive juices going, right?
Well, no question. I mean, practice all of a sudden ticks up because you know what's in front of you. It's kind of like, when you have the preseason and you get 30 practices before your first game and you're on practice 20. It's okay, we're doing this again. What are we getting ready for? And then all of a sudden it's an exhibition game and then a real game, and you get locked in much quicker.
For your team, you mentioned you gave them a few days off. What was the acclimatization back to practice? How did that go for the first couple of days?
It was fine. I mean, a little sluggish to start the first day or two. Obviously, you're getting back. We have people nursing all kinds of little bumps and bruises and things like that. And, at this point of the year, it's not like we're out there just going nuts at practice either. We're trying to stay healthy, get our work in, get our prep stuff in, stay sharp. So they've been great. I mean, our team's never had an issue getting ready to practice or prepare all year long, and we'll be ready to go.
Big deal. Another award for the mantle for Avery Coonan, but she was named honorable mention All-American. Just describe that and what that means for her and your program.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a big-time honor. I think there's 15, a first, second, and third team, and then honorable mention, which means somebody on the national level has voted for you. Outside of, your league coaches or people that maybe know you well, that see how great a player you are. People are recognizing from, some further reaches that, she's had a spectacular year and having a spectacular career.
Was that due big picture-wise? I always think recruiting for you. Does that open up even more doors,
Sure.
effect on that?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't think the next big kid we're recruiting, we're going to say, hey, take a look at this development, then you're crazy. I mean, that's part of it. And as coaches, that's what your job is. That's what you feel like your responsibility is to help people grow and get better. That's the whole thing that we do. And when you have some success stories, regardless of, her athleticism and her work ethic, she was going to be a good player no matter where she went. But to be able to do that with her and see that growth has been super rewarding. And obviously, that's great for, the next person to come along as well.
I had a couple emails to ask, both on health status for both Avery and Jossie. Give us an update there on how they're both doing.
Yeah, they both practiced full yesterday. Yeah, I would tell you neither one of them are 100%. They're both going to play and contribute. It's one of those things where neither one of them are going to be 100 until we're off for a month and they get a chance to not have to do anything strenuous for a lengthy period of time.
I saw last year, you saw it as well, the crowds for the WNIT just kept getting bigger each round. If you have an opportunity here to host 3 times, you think if you're able to win here tonight to get some momentum that people, already you had great crowds this season, that more people will tune out here for the games.
I hope so. I would love it. I know a lot of people love our team and love the caliber of young ladies we have on our team and have played some pretty good basketball this year. So I hope they come out and support us. I know there's other things going on in the NCAA tournament and all that, but, we're going to be, one of the only shows going here. If we can take care of business tonight and Sunday and potentially, play here Sunday and next Thursday, obviously if we're in a point to keep winning, But it should be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason why in March we shouldn't be, getting great crowds to watch some great basketball.
Now, I'm assuming the Chiefs are going to be here. Do you want to throw them a bone about who they want to maybe pick up here?
I got some pointers for them. I've been hyping up Bryce in round 2 or 3. We need an X. So
you need more talent on that team. Come on.
We do, actually. We do. It's going to be a big draft. We got 3 picks in the top 40.
Well, this is the first time in a long time the Chiefs have had to worry about the NFL draft.
3 picks in the top
here.
40. We're going to retool this year.
If you had to run a 40, how fast do you think you could run it right now?
Oh, my God. Well, at one, I'd blow a hamstring at about yard 8 and then probably have to crawl across. So however long it takes me to crawl 35 yards.
One other email I got was, what will it take? Obviously, the Summer League has already had 2 teams in the past, but after the season you had, what would it take to get a second team into the NCAA tournament?
Well, that's a great question. And if I have to go back and look at like this year, then we needed to beat Nebraska.
One of those teams you mentioned.
We needed to beat Gonzaga at home, or we needed to beat SDSU at home also, and then obviously also win every other game we played like we did, which it is not an easy thing to do or a normal thing to do, to go 12-0 on the road regardless of who or where you're playing. Is not something that's going to be duplicated year in and year out. So the margin for error there is pretty thin, but you got to schedule those, because we've talked about it.
Absolutely.
I don't know if we would have played 2 more P4 teams on the road or at a neutral site and not win. Does that make a difference if we don't beat SDSU at home or in the tournament? I don't think it does. I don't think that all of a sudden they're going to
still on the outside.
Still on the outside. Yeah. So you got to win at a high level. Our net ranking was 47.
Really good. Really good.
That takes into account who you're playing, where you're playing, margin of victory, efficiency, all those things. So whoever we play in front of it, you need to play well.
And the last thing here, because it looks like it's going to go to 76 next year, that doesn't mean more bids are coming the Summit League way. That only means, the 9th place team in the SEC or the Big Ten, they're going to get in, not another Summit League team, right?
Right. Well, I mean, if you look, there's only 6 conferences, maybe 5, that had more than 1 team in it on the women's side.
Wow.
And 2 of them, the Atlantic 10 had 2, and the Big East had 2.
Jeez.
The other is ACC, Big 10,
SEC,
Big 12, SEC.
Big 12, right.
That's where the rest of the teams are coming from. So there's 30-some leagues.
Right.
So 27 of them, or 26 of them, are 1-bid leagues. And it's really hard to break into that 2-bid team.
I know why they do it, because they want the more television revenue, but those teams, nobody wants to see those teams. Why does everybody watch today? They want to see North Dakota State play Michigan State today.
Right.
That's what the greatness is of this event.
Right. I would tell you from a fan's perspective, I think that's what the fans want to see.
Yes, but that ain't what they're looking for.
But that's just not what the execs are looking for.
Correct them on
and we
that.
need to change that.
Yep. It's great to see you. Thanks so much for coming by. We'll see you tonight. Good luck tonight, all right?
Sounds good. Thanks, Tom.
Jory Collins joining us here every Thursday. Bison and Chattanooga coming up tonight, 7 o'clock, ESPN+. WDAY is producing the game, so you'll hear us on the call coming up tonight at 7. We'll take a break. Back here live to Bison Pro Day on Hot Mic right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Bison Pro Day underway. The testing drills underway. They're going to get out on the field here just a few minutes, probably about a half hour for the 7 guys that are going to go through it here today. Hot mic debut for our next guy who makes everything happen. Ryan Napoli joins us. I can now say NDSU Strength Coordinator. What's the official title? You have 8 titles. Make sure I get it right. What is it?
Director of Sports Performance.
Oh, that is big. Yeah, that is way more official there.
A little bit more official, yes, sir.
So you, Kramer used to handle this forever. Is this now your baby now on Pro Day?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, this the whole thing. I mean, being able to carry the sword for Coach Kramer and take over. I mean, I love this place. It's home to me. It's why I came back here, so to be able to do it, it's pretty cool, Dom.
So give us the backstory. Did you know before everybody else on what his plans were?
No. He told me, before, obviously, he told a lot of other people. Yep. I mean, I had a feeling. I didn't know when it was going to be. I knew what I came back for. I knew what our relationship was. I knew what we were trying to do and what the long-term plan was. So, I didn't know when it was going to happen, but I hope that he's loving retirement. I'm like I said, I don't know if I've ever been more proud to be able to carry the sword and to carry this thing on from him and just to kind of continue on that legacy. And I know it's big shoes to fill, but, man, that man's a freaking legend. I owe him everything. So,
if people that follow college football, Ryan, now are figuring out that performance coaches, strength coaches are the guys that are, honestly, if you have a successful college football program, it's because of that. Just how has that changed over the last few years? You've been in this your entire career. How did that change? When did that change in college football?
I mean, it's just, I think as the game has evolved and grown, it's been a natural progression, so to speak. I look back to, man, I just remember being here in 11 with Coach Bowl, and Coach Bowl always said this, and I think that it really rung true back then. He'd always say, we're going to win 2 to 3 games a year because of our strength program. And, he came from Nebraska, where strength and conditioning started at Husker Power, started in Nebraska. And I think we're just at a point now where, they finally, a few years ago, probably about 8 to 10 years ago, right, Chris Doyle finally got paid.
Yes,
they started paying strength coaches like they were paying coordinators. And that's really elevated because, well, if you're going to pay these guys, they better be able to show why you're paying them money. And so the technology's come along with force play, with GPS. The science has evolved and adapted, and just, we realize how much more important performance is than ever, and all the little things that go into it. And so I think that's really probably the last, since about 2017, 2016, really, you see that's really when things, the escalation happened.
And now, I'm sure there are some who say, well, is it just guys lifting weights? It's not that, right? No. I mean, just tell people exactly what goes into what you do.
Yeah, I mean, it's
because I think there's a misconception out there, honestly. I really do.
Well, I do like that we're sports performance coaches. You used to be strength and conditioning coaches. We do strength development, but we also speed development, power development, agility, body composition changes, gaining lean muscle mass, losing body fat, gaining weight. Then there's also, all the accountability stuff, showing up on time, doing the little things right, how to eat, when to eat, what to eat, trying to navigate being a college kid, even though we're not in college anymore, and trying to put ourselves in that mind space and help these young men, grow and achieve and learn skill sets and build habits and be held accountable. And so, I mean, it's more than just going in there and getting strong. Anyone can do that. I can take anybody in here and go in there and get them stronger. But, becoming a better athlete, a better football player, being able to move better as an O lineman or a D lineman or a wide receiver, and those are different. Training a quarterback is different. We're going to train the same in terms of squat, bench, and power clean. But then, plyometric drills and different drills that we do on the field are going to change based on their position and how we're trying to play the game. And, how we play the brand of football we play at North Dakota State dictates our training a little bit. When I was at other schools and our brand of football was a little bit different, our mindset in the training room was a little bit different, how we had to train. So, it's all encompassing around who the program is and how the program operates. And we're just a small part of trying to help drive the overall machine.
Does it change now, Ryan, with the Mountain West here, with the opponents you're going to face are different than what you had trained before?
I don't think so. I mean, the Missouri Valley is a heck of a football conference. I mean, we're, South Dakota State and all those guys, right? Like, that's what but we're going to see those guys on a regular basis.
Right.
That's really what it is just there are no weeks off, and non-conference schedules got to be tough. Right? And we got to be able to sharpen the sword in the non-con and get ready for a conference and do all those things. And that's the mindset. There are no weeks. We haven't done anything yet, right? Like, at the end of the day, we're brand new to this league. And so we got to go attack this thing and just compete, improve, and be tougher than we were yesterday. And, we're going to let the chips fall where they fall, and we'll be ready to put the ball down August 28th and show that we're ready to play.
All right, so you had a closer look at the freshmen than anybody has. So now for the guys that are going to their red shirts or some that maybe played, you give us a couple guys who might be ready to pop this spring that we keep an eye on?
I mean, there's quite a few guys. I'm pretty excited about Dom. Let me see. Where do I want to start? I know a couple guys, Dylan Volkel in the wide receiver room and Isaiah St. Romain. Both have had really good off seasons. Really fired up about them. O-line, man, we got big up front in the O-line.
I just saw Kenny Anene for the first time in person. Like, my gosh, he's a mountain of a man.
Nate Tosted is 300 pounds.
Okay.
He played for us last year at about 288, 87 pounds. So getting to see him move around at 300 is going to be exciting. And some of those young O-linemen, Babbitts, and these young cats, Gavin Wang and Alex Warden, but really Gage Schmidt, Coy Okeson, like that class, I'm excited to see their progress. Gage Schmidt's had an unbelievable winter at offensive lineman, and then you look at the running backs, man, the whole running back room. I think Coach P and I were talking about this, but the running back room might be one of the most improved rooms, just top to bottom.
Wow.
They all squat 400 pounds now, Dom, which is pretty cool, and they're all weighing 200 pounds.
That'll work.
And so you're trying to be able to run power and run the ball. And then defensively, Will Style and Archibald in the safety room. Both of those guys were weighing 202, 203 and had great winners. Really, and then there's a bunch of young linebackers, Don, that I'm just fired up. Peter Halgo growing up and coming along, man. I'm fired up by him. Oliver Luck and Gavin Sell, man, that whole room. There's a bunch of dudes in there.
All right, so I think Tim told me on the first hour, 25 NFL teams, is that accurate, that are here today?
Yes, sir.
So for what you do, describe how what they want to see. Is it a combo thing? Like when the teams say, hey, we'd like to see so-and-so do this, how does that all work out?
I mean, they as far as like when they come up here, they have what they want to do in terms of who they want to see. But, just in general, like one of the things that we've always tried to do as the scouts, like, when they come up, they want to see these kids finish hard and do things to the best of their ability. And I remember this. We were out here as it might have been 2012 or 2013 or 2014. It was early on. And I just remember a scout made the comment about you can always tell a Bison because they always run through the 40-yard line. This was back when I think we had like some other guys at our pro day. And, that was really important. So I think for us, like these guys are always going to be able to come out here and compete at everything, and whatever they ask them to do. But these coaches, they come out here and, obviously Cole's got a 56, play throwing set because that's what they want to see. But, it just kind of depends on who we got in the room and what they want to see and what drills they do. But from our standpoint, and obviously they go train with a specialist for pro day just because it is very specialized and whatnot. Yeah. But, they love and they want to see guys coming out there developed over 4 and 5 years and that compete hard at everything they do.
So last thing, we saw what Cole and Bryce tested. Who might test really well that we don't know today? Remember Kubitz like last year, 2 years ago, was amazing when he was here.
Chideme Alfaro, he broad jumped 10.7 for us. Ooh. So, I bet he broad jumped somewhere in the 10.5. He's down there right now. I'd love to go see what that number is, but, that'd be a big number for him. That'd be really cool. Barika's, I think it's 27, 28 on bench.
Wow.
I think Barika's going to have a big day. He's super explosive, so really fired up. And then Chris Harris, I've been saying it for years, the last couple of years. I mean, that boy can run.
Yes.
I'm really excited to see what he can do today. So I think those three. And then Raja, and Truman Weremeyer. I've been lifting Truman, and he's been training here in town. Like all 5 of those guys, man, I think they're all going to pop, and we're going to see some big numbers out all 5 of them overall the test.
Thanks so much for doing this. So you're a busy man. Appreciate it. We got the hot mic debut here for you.
Hey, I feel honored and privileged.
Get out of here. Thanks for doing this, bud. Ryan Napoli joining us. Got to get back to work. Good to see you, bud, joining us here on set. Let's break. We come back. A special mid-season or off-season appearance from one Steve Laqua will join us. His old quarterback is here today. Jack Strand is going to go through the drills in front of the NFL scouts. We'll do that on the other side of the break. Hot Mike will wrap after this on WDAY Extra and Inforum.com after this. Welcome back, everybody. Live on location, Bison Pro Day here on WDAY Extra. You're looking at video of one MSUM quarterback, Jack Strand, one of the finalists for the Harlan Hill Award. He will be on the field here later, going through drills today because the NFL wants to take a look at the guy. Why not? He threw for about 10,000 yards for Steve Laqua, who joins us here on set. It's great to see you. We got a rare in-person appearance with the Dragonhead football coach.
Yeah, in person. I like this. This is great. Out of studio.
Yes.
A little fake grass behind us. Love
it. This is a big-time deal. I mean, we had talked for the last 3 years about your quarterback and potential maybe for the next level, and now here it is today. Just describe for you how big a deal this is.
Well, exciting that he's getting the opportunity. You look at at it and go, I mean, really, honestly, thanks to NDSU and Coach Polasek, there's some schools that would say, hey, we're not taking any extra guys. Known Tim for a long time. He's a football guy. And being able to have the opportunity here for Jack, for Gage Florence, for Brady Perriman to be able to get out, make some throws, catch some footballs. It's what he needs this point as a guy that didn't maybe get into the top all-star games, that didn't get into the combine. This is kind of what it is.
Right.
And it's a crazy thing that it comes down to a 50-play script today is going to be important, kind of like shooting 50 free throws in front of a bunch of fans, and that determines if you're a good quarterback.
Yes.
So it's crazy how it's going to play out.
When in your mind did you say or think, like, yeah, he's got something that the next level may want to look at?
Well, I think you could see like maybe his arm was live enough that was just popped, right? And that was pretty early. I would say that was within his first year. That was probably even in recruiting. I always come back to Easton Stick. I watched Easton Stick out here before there was turf in this facility when he was a high school senior, and he ripped the ball. And I remember just saying to Coach Vegan, I'm like, I don't know anything about this kid, but it's faster than anybody. Jack was in that league throwing. There were some other things that definitely were not like Easton, but you could recognize it there. And then when he started to process, make throws, be able to do those things, you're like, oh, wow, this guy's anticipatory throws, he's maybe got a shot.
Yeah. Describe how much you've had a chance to visit with him since the season. And we talked with him, before he was going to the All-Star game he was invited to in January, what the last few months have been like for him.
Yeah, and I haven't touched base with him a lot. I know Coach Check, our quarterback coach, they're in pretty constant communication with him, the agent, the quarterback coach out east, scheduling this, keeping track.
And we know Tony. Tony was here as Cam Miller's quarterback coach.
Absolutely, so that was a good connection. The teams that are coming in and talking to him, phone interviews, in-person interviews, there's been a lot. But he's been able to focus. I think the biggest thing I would say that I take from like his response being out there was, I'm around other high-level quarterbacks now, and I realized, you know what, for sure I can do this. I think before you're like, I think so, I hope so. You get in those other guys that are draft eligible, that are high-level players, and you go, okay, I can do this. I need to get an opportunity.
How big a deal is this for your program, have something like this today?
Well, I think it's really big, right? It's anytime you've got guys that from Velva, North Dakota that are over here, that, Jack Strand from Bloomer, they're doing those things. I think it's big because obviously guys dream about making it to the NFL. They want to have opportunities. This is a kind of a chance for them. Hopefully it parlays into the next phase where he does get his name called draft day. That's a huge thing. And for us, for our program, for his teammates, for the future of the program, it could be great. And so hopefully things go well.
It's just it's a remarkable rise for him, and considering the amount of I know the NFL scouts were through camp. We talked about it every Tuesday on the show that you had the NFL guys would either, if they were coming here, they were also making a stop over during fall camp to watch Jack.
Well, that's the great thing about our metro area and NDSU being here, because it was an easy crossover, and maybe we could have been up somewhere else, a little more secluded, and some NFL teams would have come, but not all. And so enough went that this is worth it. Some honestly had intentions of, hey, I'm just going to check the box and cross them off. And then they got there and said, you know what, I'm going to actually stay for all practice. So having the scouts be here was huge.
All right, so here we are. Spring ball is in the offing as well for MSUM, correct? When do you guys start?
We're starting Tuesday morning.
Here we go.
Dark and early, 6 a.m.
That is a Laqua staple of doing that in the morning.
The lowest temperature of the day. We're out there. But there's no field conflicts, right? Softball, soccer, we're all trying to find space to practice, so we can do it in the morning, make that work for those guys. And it's good for our players. We get out there. We have got no class conflicts. We're excited to see, because we graduate a lot of seniors. It's a bunch of guys that you look out there and you go, who's that? I don't even know who that guy is. So it'll be interesting come next fall. We'll see how it plays out this fall.
And quarterback battle, I assume, begins. Is this the first week? All right, we could put the first, stake down of who has the upper hand going to fall camp?
Without a doubt, right? And I think it's wide open. We've got it split up, basically equal reps for the 5 quarterbacks that are healthy, that'll be out there. And you're like, okay, we've got to figure out somebody's got to come out of this group. We don't want to decide too early, right? Because there's different levels of progression. But if you leave it spread too long, there's not enough reps that anybody can get.
Right.
Good. And so it's a delicate balance. We're going to hopefully we got to hit it in the sweet spot and make it work.
You've been through this before. It's been a little bit since you've had an extra QB battle. So you mentioned mentioned too much pressure on a spring practice when you're still 5 months out from your first game.
Well, you try and create as many opportunities that you can that aren't maybe team, because there are only so many team reps. There are only 7-on-7. Okay, well, can we break it down? Can we do 2-on-2s? Can we do 1-on-1s? Can we do other things like that give a quarterback an opportunity to make plays? And if they can handle the small stuff, obviously you get more of the big stuff. But our thing has always been, this is a journey. We're not playing a game. These 15 practices, we're trying to get ourselves ready by the time we get to the end of August.
So there are positions we should keep an eye on if we're coming out, paying attention to Dragon Spring Ball here over the next month.
If you look at the offense, there's only 4 seniors returning. So that's an interesting group that we have there. So I'd say all positions for the most part. They're defensively, our defensive backs graduated a lot of guys. I think that's going to be an important section. And our D-line, youthful, talented, but can they step up and play? So I think that's almost every darn position.
So keeping you up at night here, or no, you'll be able to enjoy the offseason a little bit?
Enjoy the offseason. That worries for that'll start next week. That'll watch practice, and then that'll keep me up starting then.
Well, I mentioned it, by the way. We're talking about how big a day is here for Bison. Bison Track won the indoor titles as well, and it's a big deal for the Laqua family as well.
Yeah, her daughter Kate is in her first year running, and she was able to run the hurdles and did solid in that. She loves it. She loves her teammates. She loves the program. When you look back at a step back as a parent, you're like, I don't know that you could want anything more. She's as happy as she's been for as much on the track thing as off the track. So excited to get to the outdoor. It's a little bit different. Indoor, okay, I'm like, oh, that started early, December. I'm used to that. Now outdoor, I'm like, well, there's not a lot of meets around here.
No, you got to go where they're at, right?
Well, hopefully we can get some live streams.
It's the name of the game. The fact that she took to track, did that surprise you that was the sport?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's, I would say that, to me, is the worst sport ever. What's the worst part about every sport is the conditioning. It's the running. I'm like, well, what is track? Track is running every day. And so I think track coaches are some of the best coaches ever because you have to motivate people.
Your guy Stevie Keller, another Class B guy like yourself.
Yeah. You know? Harvey Hornet beat us in the state semifinals freshman year. Not that I'm held that against him or haven't let that go.
I was going to say, doesn't sound like you let that one go,
No, it was a tough one. Harvey got us twice in the state semifinals in my high school career. So,
well, this is a big week as well. No, the Class B tournament begins in Minot as well, which, as you've always told us, that was family vacation for the Laqwas, right?
It was vacation. That was, as a high school North Dakota small town athlete, that's what I hoped, dreamed, aspired to play in. Because I like basketball better than football growing up. I was like, you want to make the state championship in football, but I was like, if you had to pick, you're probably like, if you could play in the state B, that would be something. And I still remember, I can still rattle off names from back then, the numbers that they were. And now sometimes I see those guys around the state, the Fred Fridleys, and you're like, I remember watching you. You were like a legend to me. So it's, it's pretty cool.
Do you prefer Minot or Bismarck? That's always the debate. What was the site?
Bismarck for me because I was grandpa and grandma, handful of aunts and uncles, cousins were there, so that was a blast. Minot always.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Or Bismarck always. Minot was, second best.
Yeah.
I did not like it in Fargo.
See, no, and I was talking about that yesterday. That's something I don't think we're ever going to see again because the Class A is here and the AA will be here. I don't think the Class B is ever going to come back to Fargo.
No, and then back then it was in the old BSA. Yeah. It was like, it was fine, but it wasn't, to me, it wasn't like those others. Now, I did like going and watching the Bison Hawk basketball games. Those were phenomenal in the BSA and the Hislop. Those were fun.
Do you know what your boss sent me for the studio? Did you have any wind of this?
Did we get a dragon helmet?
It's not a helmet. I got a dragon pylon with a dragon logo on it. I don't know where to put it. You've been in the studio. Where am I going to put this thing?
I don't know. I think that sounds like that's a Twitter poll. Where should we put this? We
put that Eric fire it up there. Because I have no idea where to put
decide.
Get
the people what they want.
My face. I'm sure some would love that.
You can make that as an option.
But he messaged me. He said, "Hey, we got to get some dragon stuff in there." I'm like, "Yeah." I'm talking to Steve. We want a helmet. He says, "I've got something. It'll be perfect." So I come back from I forget where I was at and waiting at my door. I was in Sioux Falls for the Summer League basketball tournament. I come back and there it is. I'm like, "Well, what am I going to do with this?" And it's heavy, by the way.
It is.
Those things are heavy,
though, right? Helmets, those are a dime a dozen. Who's got a pylon, right? Like, hey.
Well, I do now, so I appreciate Chad for sending that over.
And it's kind of like how I play defense. It's like a traffic cone. I just kind of stood there, heavy-footed, didn't move, so that's why we never made it to the state Class B tournament.
Okay, you said it, not me. I appreciate that. So today, I know you got to get going here today, but just if you had a chance to talk with Jack, and what would you tell him? And just because this is different, this is not a game. This is such a unique experience here today.
It is. I think it's just be yourself, right? Just no one throw is going to make the difference.
Yeah.
Just like a game, like no one throw makes a difference in the game. You can kind of look back, just be yourself, just play, just let it rip. You know what? Enjoy the moment. Be happy that you're here. Like, who would have thought all these years ago that you're here? So now that you are, don't let the moment overwhelm you, the pressure, the whatever. Just be free. Just play. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
What's his? Is there a favorite throw he had for you that you said, that one, boy, that's pretty darn good?
Well, when you throw the 12-yard out to the field from the opposite hash, and he was 18 out of 21 efficient on those last year, that's a phenomenal number. So I like that. I was like, that's the
really
fact that you
good.
can make that throw look like a no-brainer throw. This is an easy throw. This is a gimme. Is crazy.
Well, I would say any throw he had against Mankato in the finale, right? That was pretty darn good there. He was awesome that day.
I would say any run he made that day was phenomenal. That was a difference maker for us. He put the team on his shoulders and ran, and at the end of the game, he's like, I don't know how guys do this every week. That Duluth quarterback, that's a lot of hits.
Yeah, we got one here with Cole Payton did it every week. Like, I'm not sure how they do that, right?
You have to be physically built different, which you can see Cole is built different. The things that he can do athletically are phenomenal, and it's excited to see how great a job that he's done. Two really good quarterbacks in this Metro.
Last thing here, the Bison men's basketball team is facing Tom Izzo in Michigan State. So Dave Richmond has had a chance to meet with Tom. I assume, who's your favorite Izzo?
Well, it's a no-brainer that it's you. Yeah, it's like your older brother, Tom. I don't care about that guy. Like, it's all about the younger brother. Yeah.
I appreciate it. It's great to see you. Thanks so much for coming by, all right? And have a great off. We'll see you in the spring ball here coming up, and we'll talk again soon, all right?
Sounds good.
Steve Laqua joining us here as Jack Strand, his quarterback, going to be going through the drills here. As you see, we got everyone is getting ready for the 40 times. That's why everybody's out there, and we'll have coverage of that when we wrap up the show here today. So we'll take our final break. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up and get you ready for a busy Sports Thursday with a capital B. Hot Mike wraps on WDAY Extra right after this. Up here on this Thursday morning. Tomorrow, Sam Getzinger will be filling in for me. He'll be live in Minot. We'll have all the reaction from here, obviously for the Bison-Michigan State matchup, the Bison women's game with Chattanooga. Sam's going to have some guests out in Minot as well, so make sure you join us tomorrow for a special Friday show. That'll be a ton of fun here. All right, just to update things here, we got the 7 guys are going to be going through the 40 here. We'll have full coverage of this coming up after Hot Mike is done on WDAY News tonight at 6 and 10, part of basically the busiest sports day I can remember on the local scene with everything we have going on today. That's coming up later today. We'll hear from Cole Payton, Bryce Lance, and a few of the other guys going through the drills. That'll be after we are done here. Now, I wanted to make sure we got this in. We didn't have time earlier in the show. Jeff Kolpak, our guy, asked Tom Izzo yesterday during the availability for the Spartans about the challenges going into when you're a blue blood like Michigan State is in these kind of games where they're a 3 seed facing a Bison team that's a 14 seed. We saw Michigan State 10 years ago lose as a 2 seed to Middle Tennessee State. Here, I love saying this. Here's what Izzo had to say about being in these kind of games.
Oh, man. I mean, I was a Division II guy. In fact, I was a Division II guy when North Dakota State was a Division II guy team. And, there's something if the David and Goliath thing, you got a chance. I was a Division II player, got a chance to play El McGuire and Marquette, It was one of the greatest things in the world to have a chance to go up against somebody that everybody's talking about, They're not on TV every day. We are on TV every day. That's got to be some of the motivational talks to their players is you get a chance to prove yourself amongst the best. And by the way, what I've learned in my profession in the last 5 years, there's a lot of good players at a lot of good places. And North Dakota State is one of them. They've won championships, national championships in football there. It's a pretty neat place. He seems like a great coach. And they've got some good players. I mean, they got some players that could play a lot of us. We had a player from that league, Frankie Fiddler, a year ago. Purdue's got a damn good player from that league. So what makes them scary is they're well coached. They got good players. But I think what makes them scary is this is their Christmas, 4th of July. They get a chance to pit themselves against the people they watch on TV. And I think that's a strong way to put it.
Head coach and exactly the challenges that face a higher seed than this. They know Buys are going to throw everything at them and have a chance to see if they can go and try and knock off Michigan State here later today at 3 o'clock. Our Riley Swenson is there. He'll have a report coming up on WDAY News here at 11 o'clock, coming up right when we wrap up things here from the indoor practice facility. Going to be fantastic to see. Bison got to shoot the ball, and as you heard Dave Richmond say, they got to rebound. That's the best opportunity they have if they want to win this game coming up later today. With that, let's do some what to watch before we get out of here. All right, so here we go. Again, a reminder, the state basketball tournaments, plural, begin coming up at 1 o'clock. The state A games you'll see right here on Extra beginning at 1 with that first game with Central Cass and Turtle Mountain. The state B from Minot, all those games are live today on WDAY. You can stream everything as well on WDAY+. It's a great day. Sit back and enjoy it, whatever you're going to find it. Those are the games today from Fargo and Minot. Again, the Bison play at 3 o'clock today against Michigan State. That game is on TNT for the Bison and the Spartans. Jason Benetti will be on the call for that one. Blackhawks and the Wild coming up tonight, 6:30 on ESPN+ for that one. And the Bison women will be against Chattanooga on WBIT action. That also on ESPN+ coming up here later tonight. We'll be on the call of that one. Great show here today. If you missed any of it, you can come back and podcast. You can watch a full replay as well on WDAY+. Enjoy the madness today, folks. Have a great Thursday. We'll see you back here tomorrow.